Welcome back, survivors. Before the story starts, tap subscribe and comment where you're tuning in from. I'm dropping another story tomorrow, and you'll want to catch it first. This broadcast room should be frozen, empty, dead. But the chair is warm. The console is live. Someone named Victor logged an entry yesterday. Transmission successful. I checked the archives. Victor died in 2003. His entry appears every single day since. Different handwriting each time. Hundreds of names. All repeating the same broadcast. Then the speaker started whispering footsteps in the recording, walking closer. My door handle turned. Same timing. Same sound. The mic went red. Active. Recording. A voice came through the static, dozens of voices layered into one. Your turn, Leah. I'm alone. But something just walked in. The console was still warm. Leah pressed her palm against the broadcast equipment, feeling the hum of electricity beneath her fingertips. Impossible. The emergency station had been dead for 7 years. Everyone knew that. Station 7's final transmission had gone out in 2024, right after the outbreak turned the cities into graveyards. She'd come here for salvage, tapes, equipment, anything she could trade back at the settlement. The infected had finally cleared out of this sector after the winter fires, leaving a narrow window to loot what remained. She had maybe 2 hours before they returned. But someone had been here. Recently, the operator's chair still held the indent of a body. Coffee sat in a mug beside the keyboard, cold, but not frozen. And the lights. God, the lights were on. Blue displays glowing in the darkness, showing active frequencies. Signal strength bars pulsing like a heartbeat. Leah's breath came faster. She spun, scanning the broadcast room with her flashlight. Empty. Dust-covered windows overlooking the dead city. Soundproofing foam peeling from the walls. Everything exactly as it should be in an abandoned building. Except for the equipment that shouldn't be running. She moved to the console, her boots crunching on scattered papers. The logbook lay open, pages covered in handwriting. She leaned closer, reading by the glow of the monitors. The 15th of October 2031, day 2847. Transmission successful, no response, we'll try again tomorrow. Victor K. The 16th of October 2031, day 2848. Transmission successful, no response. We'll try again tomorrow. Victor K. Her stomach dropped. October 16th was yesterday. Someone named Victor had been here yesterday, writing in this book, broadcasting from equipment that had no power source. She flipped back through the pages. Hundreds of entries. Thousands. All identical. Different names, different handwriting, but always the same message. Transmission successful. No response. We'll try again tomorrow. The dates went back years. Long before the outbreak. Long before Station 7 was even built, according to the construction date stamped on the wall plaque. A sound made her freeze. Static. It whispered from the speakers mounted around the room, not the harsh white noise of dead air, but something softer, almost like breathing, almost like voices trying to form words through layers of interference. Leah reached for the volume knob, but stopped. The master tape deck was turning. Its reel spun slowly, playing something she hadn't started. She pressed her ear close to the nearest speaker. Footsteps. Recorded footsteps. Walking through halls that echoed just like the ones outside this room. Getting closer. Stopping at a door. The sound of a handle turning. Her handle turned. The door to the broadcast room began to open, moving with the exact timing of the recording. Leah stumbled backward, her hand reaching for the knife at her belt. The mic light on the console turned red. A voice crackled through the static, distorted, layered with dozens of others speaking in unison. Your turn, Leah. The door swung wide. They stood in the doorway like photographs come to life. 7 of them, maybe more behind, their bodies blocking the hall light. They wore the uniforms of Station 7 khaki pants, navy blue shirts with call letters stitched over the pockets, old styles, decades old. Their faces were gray, bloodless, but not decayed, not infected. Worse than infected. Their eyes were open but empty, reflecting the blue glow of the console screens. Their mouths moved in perfect synchronization, forming words without sound. Leah could read their lips. Transmission successful. No response. We'll try again tomorrow. Over and over. Mechanical, eternal. The one in front, his name tag read Victor K, took a step forward. His movements were smooth, fluid, nothing like the jerky stumbling of the infected. He raised one hand toward the console, fingers stretching toward the microphone. "No!" Leah's voice came out strangled. She grabbed the logbook, backing toward the windows. "Stay back! I'm not part of this!" But Victor's hand passed through the space where she'd been standing, reaching for the mic as if she wasn't there at all, as if she was the ghost, not him. The others filed into the room, taking positions at different stations. One sat at the tape deck, another at the transmission controls. They moved with practiced precision, running through a routine they'd performed thousands of times, a broadcast that never ended. Leah's back hit the window. The glass was cold against her shoulders, and beyond it, 3 stories down, the dead city stretched into darkness. She could jump, break the glass, and take her chances with the fall over whatever this was, but she couldn't stop watching them. The woman at the tape deck pressed play. That same recording filled the room again, footsteps, doors, static breathing. But now Leah could see the source. The tape was blank. Empty reels spinning, playing sounds that didn't exist, sounds that shouldn't be there. Victor sat in the operator's chair. His fingers moved across the console, adjusting frequencies, checking signal strength. Professional, calm, dead. The mic light pulsed brighter. One by one, the operators turned to look at her. Really look at her this time. Their empty eyes suddenly focused, aware. Their mouths stopped moving in silent repetition. Instead, they smiled. Not human smiles. Too wide, too synchronized. Victor picked up the microphone. When he spoke, his voice came from everywhere. The speakers, the walls, the air itself, layered with the voices of everyone who'd ever broadcast from this room. "You found us, Leah. You heard the call. Everyone who hears it comes eventually. The station needs voices, needs operators. The transmission must continue." He held out the microphone toward her. "It's your turn now. Take your seat. Make your broadcast. Join us." Behind him, the console displayed a new entry already typed in the logbook, in handwriting she recognized as her own. "The 18th of October, 2031, day 2849. Transmission successful. No response. We'll try again tomorrow. Leah R." She hadn't written it. She hadn't even touched the book. Not yet. "I'm not doing this." Leah's hand found the window latch. Rusted, but it moved. "I'm leaving. You can't." "We didn't want to either." The voice came from the woman at the tape deck. Younger than the others, maybe 30, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. Her name tag read Iris M. When she spoke, her mouth moved normally, naturally, nothing like the synchronized horror from before. "I came here in 2019, Iris continued, her voice soft beneath the static. "Before the outbreak. Before everything. I was a journalist investigating the station's history. People had gone missing here for decades. I thought I'd write an exposé." She laughed, bitter and hollow. "I did write it, over and over, every day. The same story. The same broadcast." Victor stood slowly, still holding the microphone. "I was first. 1987. Station 7 wasn't supposed to exist yet, but I heard it broadcasting anyway, calling. I had to find it. Had to answer." His empty eyes found Leah's. "Just like you did." "I came here to scavenge," Leah said, but her voice shook. "I didn't hear anything. I didn't—" "You've been hearing it for weeks." This from another operator, an older man with white hair, Thomas R. "In your sleep. In the static between radio stations back at your settlement, little whispers asking you to come here, to find us. You thought it was your own idea to loot Station 7, didn't you?" Leah's throat went tight. She had been having dreams. The same one every night for the past month, standing in this room, broadcasting to no one, calling out into the void. She'd wake up with her mouth dry, words on her tongue that she couldn't quite remember. "The station isn't a place," Iris said. "It's a signal. A frequency that catches people like radio waves. Once you hear it, really hear it, you can't unhear it. It pulls you in, makes you need to broadcast, need to call out." "To what?" Leah demanded. "What are you broadcasting to?" The operators exchanged glances. Even through their emptiness, she saw something flicker uncertainty, fear. "We don't know," Victor admitted. "Something beyond the static, something that listens but never responds. The station was built to reach it, but we don't know who built it or why, or when it really started. He set the microphone down on the console. We just know that it needs voices. Needs operators to keep the signal going, and if we stop, the lights flickered. All 7 operators gasped in unison, their bodies convulsing. Blood ran from their noses, their ears. The static in the speakers turned sharp, angry, a sound like metal scraping across concrete. The building shook. If we stop broadcasting, Iris whispered through bloodied teeth, the station punishes us, and it never lets us die. The lights stabilized. The operators straightened, wiping away blood with mechanical movements, back to their positions, back to work. Victor picked up the microphone again. Your turn, Leah. You can join us willingly, or the station will make you join. Those are the only choices. The mic light pulsed, waiting. Leah. She shoved past Victor, his cold fingers brushing her arm, and bolted for the door. The hallway stretched before her amber emergency lights, peeling walls, the stairwell at the far end. Behind her, footsteps, not running, walking, calm and measured and inevitable. She hit the stairs at full speed, taking them 3 at a time. Second floor, first floor. The footsteps followed, maintaining the exact same distance no matter how fast she moved, like they were tethered to her, like running was pointless. The lobby doors were chained from the inside. She yanked at the metal, but the links held firm. Through the glass, she could see the street empty, gray in the pre-dawn light. Freedom 30 feet away. Leah. Victor's voice echoed down the stairwell. The station won't let you leave. Not now that you've heard it. Not now that it knows your name. She spun, searching for another exit. The maintenance entrance she'd used to get in it was on the east side, through the utility corridors. She ran again, her breath ragged, pulse hammering in her ears. The building groaned around her. Walls shifted. Doors that had been opened sealed themselves. Hallways stretched and bent, geometry turning impossible. She ran down a corridor she'd walked through 10 minutes ago, but now it led somewhere different, a storage room filled with old broadcasting equipment, reels of tape stacked floor to ceiling. Every tape was labeled with a name and date. Victor K. 1987, Iris M. 2019, Thomas R. 2003. Hundreds of them. Thousands, going back to 1952, when Station 7 supposedly didn't exist, and at the very end of the room, on a shelf at eye level, a tape that made her blood freeze. Leah R. 2031. She grabbed it with shaking hands. The tape was warm, recently recorded. She unwound a section, holding it up to the emergency light. Her voice preserved in magnetic strips. This is Emergency Broadcast Station 7. If anyone can hear this, I'm trapped here. My name is Leah, and I can't get out. I've been broadcasting for... She dropped the tape. It clattered to the floor, but kept playing somehow. The words spilling into the air without any equipment. 6 years now. 6 years of the same message. 6 years of no response. If you're hearing this, don't come looking for the station. Don't answer the call. It doesn't let go. It never... The recording cut to static. Leah backed out of the room. Her tape, her voice, dated today, talking about 6 years she hadn't lived yet. The operators stood in the hallway, blocking the way back. All of them, more than 7, now dozens, filling the corridor shoulder to shoulder, their empty eyes reflecting her terror. Victor held out the microphone. You've already joined us, Leah. This is just the beginning. Your first transmission, not your last. The building shook again, harder this time. Make the broadcast, Victor said, or the station will tear itself apart with you inside. She took the microphone. What choice did she have? The walls were bleeding static now, reality itself fraying at the edges. Through the windows, she could see the city outside flickering like a damaged film reel, present, past, future, all overlapping. The operators led her back to the broadcast room. They moved aside, creating a path, and Leah walked it like a condemned prisoner. The console waited. The chair was warm again, always warm, heated by bodies that had sat there for decades without ever leaving. She lowered herself into it, feeling the weight of every broadcast that had come before. Victor stood beside her. Read from the script. He pointed to a paper on the console, words in her handwriting that wrong, future handwriting that already knew what she was going to say. This is Emergency Broadcast Station 7. Day 2849. My name is Leah Russo. If anyone can hear this, we're still broadcasting, still calling, still hoping for a response. We'll try again tomorrow. Simple, empty, meaningless. And yet, as she stared at the words, she felt the pull, the need to speak them, to send them out into the void, into whatever vast, listening darkness waited beyond the static. The station wasn't just forcing her, it was making her want to broadcast. Why? She whispered. What's the point? No one responds. No one ever hears it. Something hears it, Iris said from her position at the tape deck. We can feel it listening, waiting, hungry. For what? Voices, souls, signals. Iris shrugged. We stopped trying to understand years ago. We just broadcast. It's all we can do. All we are now. Leah looked at the mic in her hand. The light glowed red, active recording. She could feel the weight of attention on her, not from the operators, but from something beyond them. Something vast pressing against the walls of reality, drawn by the signal like a moth to flame. She could refuse, let the station tear itself apart, die in the collapse. Or she could speak. There's a third option, she said suddenly. What if I broadcast something different? What if I break the script? Victor's expression didn't change. Others have tried. The station corrects them, forces the words out. You can scream, cry, beg for help, but in the end, the broadcast always says what it needs to say. Has anyone tried to warn people? Told them not to come here? Iris smiled sadly. Every single one of us. The tape you found? Your future recording? You were warning yourself. Didn't stop you from coming, did it? The call is stronger than the warning. Always has been. Leah stared at the script again. Day 2849. Tomorrow would be 2850, then 2851, forever. She raised the microphone to her lips. This is Emergency Broadcast Station 7. The words came automatically, pulled from her throat like a ventriloquist working a puppet. Day 2849. My name is Leah Russo. If anyone can hear this. She tried to stop, tried to say something else, but her mouth kept moving, forming the words she didn't want to speak. We're still broadcasting, still calling, still hoping. Outside, something in the static answered. The first response in 70 years came as a wave of sound that shattered every window in the station. Glass exploded inward, and with it came a signal pure, overwhelming, impossibly loud. Not words, not language. Something older than communication, a frequency that bypassed ears and drilled straight into the brain. Leah screamed, but couldn't hear her own voice over the roar. The operators collapsed as one, their bodies seizing. Blood poured from their eyes, their mouths pooling on the floor and spreading circles. But they didn't die, couldn't die. They just writhed puppets whose strings had suddenly been yanked by a furious hand. The console screens blazed white hot. Data scrolled across them faster than human eyes could track coordinates, numbers, symbols that hurt to look at. The station was receiving. After decades of broadcasting into silence, something had finally decided to respond. And it was angry. Victor crawled toward Leah, his face a mask of blood. What did you do? His voice was barely human now, distorted by the signal tearing through him. What did you? The call changed. Your voice. Something different. You broke the pattern. I didn't. But Leah stopped. She had broken it, hadn't she? Not with her words, but with her intention. The desperate hope that someone, somewhere, might actually hear, might actually answer. That hope had reached something. The static coalesced. In the center of the broadcast room, interference patterns formed into something almost solid. A shape. A presence. It towered over them, composed of dead air and lost signals, every broadcast that had ever failed to reach its destination. When it spoke, it used all their voices at once. Finally, finally, we hear you. We have always heard you. For your call, your desperation, your loneliness. We know it well. The presence moved closer, and Leah could see faces in the static, thousands of them, millions. Every person who had ever screamed into the void, every SOS that went unanswered, every last transmission from dying ships and failing stations, all of them trapped in the signal, forever calling, forever hoping. This station, the voice continued, was built to find us, to reach the frequency where lost voices go. You have been feeding us, broadcasting your desperation, sustaining us. Iris pulled herself upright, blood dripping from her chin. You're not God, not salvation. You're just echoes, dead signals. Yes, and now we are strong enough to answer, strong enough to return. The presence expanded, pushing against the walls. The building groaned, structure failing. Through the broken windows, Leah could see the city outside changing, dead radios flickering to life, television screens in empty apartments glowing. Every broadcasting device in the city activating at once, tuning to the same frequency. Station 7's frequency. The outbreak, the voice said, was only the beginning. Bodies failing, minds dying, perfect vessels for signal-seeking flesh. We have been waiting, gathering strength, and now, through this station, we will broadcast ourselves into every empty body in your world. The infected weren't mindless, they were receivers. And something was finally ready to transmit. Shut it down! Leah lunged for the console, but Victor grabbed her arm. You can't? He gasped. The station won't let you. We've tried, all of us. The moment you touch the power controls, it stops your heart. I died trying. We all died trying. Then we destroy it. Leah yanked free, searching the room for anything she could use. Fire, explosives, something to end this before the signal could spread. But the presence laughed, a sound like feedback screech, like every channel tuning to static at once. Destroy this station, and we broadcast from another. We are in every transmission now, every radio, every signal. You taught us how. 7 decades of your desperate calling showed us the way. Iris stood unsteady, leaning against the tape deck. Then why did you need us? Why keep us broadcasting if you're already everywhere? The presence flickered, uncertain for the first time. Answers, it admitted. You are answers. Human voices willing to call into the void. Without you, we drift, disperse. Become nothing again. Your desperation gives us form. Your loneliness gives us purpose. Understanding crashed through Leah. You're not powerful. You're just parasitic. You need us to need you. Need us to keep broadcasting so you have something to latch onto. The operators looked at each other. Thomas spoke, his voice stronger than before. She's right. We've been sustaining it. Every broadcast, every repeated message, we've been feeding it. Our loneliness. Our hope that someone would answer. And if we stop, Leah asked? If we stop hoping? Then you stop existing. The presence surged forward, angry now. You are part of us. We are part of you. The station binds us together. Separate, we are both nothing. But Leah saw the truth behind the threat. The presence was desperate. For 70 years, it had fed on the operator's endless broadcasts, growing stronger with each message sent into the void. But it was still just an echo, still just dead signals clinging to life through borrowed voices. Without them, it would fade. Everyone, Leah said, turning to the operators, stop broadcasting. Stop hoping for a response. Let it starve. Victor shook his head. The station will kill us. We're already dead. You said it yourself. You all died trying to stop this. But the station kept you here, kept you broadcasting. What if we all stop at once? What if we choose silence together? The presence screamed, a sound that rattled the building's foundation. The console sparked, electricity arcing across the equipment. The lights flickered between power and darkness. You can it raged. You need to broadcast. It is your nature, your curse. You will always call out, always hope someone hears. Leah looked at the microphone in her hand. The thing she'd been forced to use, the tool of her own imprisonment. She smiled. You're wrong. And she crushed the mic under her boot. The station went silent. The moment the microphone shattered, Leah felt it a tearing sensation in her chest, like roots being ripped from soil. The station howled. Not through speakers anymore, but through the walls themselves, through the air, through her bones. The operators gasped, clutching their chests. Their faces twisted in agony, but also something else. Relief, recognition. Like they were remembering what it felt like to die, really die, for the first time in decades. I can't, Iris collapsed, her body flickering between solid and translucent. It's pulling me apart. Let it, Thomas said, his voice fading. Let it end. One by one, they stopped fighting, stopped broadcasting, stopped hoping for a response that would never come. They chose silence, chose the void over the endless repetition. The present screamed louder, but its voice was weakening. Without their broadcast to anchor it, without their desperation to feed on, it was losing coherence. The static humanoid shape dissolved into fragments, scrambled signals, white noise, dead air. "You will regret this," it hissed, its voice now coming from 1,000 directions at once, desperate and scattering. "Without us, you are alone, truly alone. That is worse. That is always worse." Leah felt the truth of it, the cold reality of silence. No broadcasts, no calling out, no hope that anyone was listening, just empty frequencies and the crushing weight of a universe that didn't care. But she'd been alone before. They all had. Before the station, before the signal. They'd survived loneliness without feeding it to monsters. "We'll be alone," Leah agreed, "but we'll be free." She grabbed the logbook, thousands of pages filled with desperate entries, and threw it into the sparking console. Flames caught immediately, spreading across the equipment. The fire alarm wailed, but no one came. No one was left to come. The operators were fading faster now. Victor reached out, his hand passing through the air like smoke. "Thank you," he whispered, "for being brave enough to end it." Then he was gone. Not dead, just released. The station's hold broken. One by one, they vanished. Iris, Thomas, all of them. Released into whatever waited beyond the static, beyond the signal. Leah hoped it was peace. She hoped it was silence. The presence made one final attempt. It surged toward her, trying to force itself into her mouth, her lungs, anywhere it could anchor. She felt it, scratching at her mind, trying to make her broadcast, trying to make her call out just one more time, but she bit down on her tongue, tasting blood, and refused. The silence held. The presence shattered like glass. 1,000,000 frequencies collapsing into nothing. The static died. The screens went dark. The station's hum, that endless electrical drone, finally stopped. Leah stood alone in the burning broadcast room, surrounded by flames and the corpses of equipment that had imprisoned souls for decades. She walked to the window. Outside, the city's radios went silent. The infected stopped moving, their bodies collapsing as the signal driving them ceased. No more transmissions. No more calls into the void. Just key it. She climbed through the broken window and never looked back. Leah made it back to the settlement 3 days later. She told them what she'd found, about Station 7, about the signal, about the presence that had been broadcasting through the infected, trying to find vessels, about the operators who'd been trapped for decades, forced to repeat the same message into the void. Nobody believed her. They nodded politely and took the salvage she'd managed to carry back, some tapes, a portable radio, nothing special. They asked if she'd hit her head during the scavenging run, if maybe she'd been alone too long. She didn't argue. What was the point? The broadcasts had stopped. The infected in the Western District had all collapsed, their bodies finally at rest. Whatever had been controlling them was gone. That was all that mattered. But 3 weeks later, Leah woke in the middle of the night with static in her ears. Not loud, not overwhelming, just a whisper, a familiar frequency trying to reestablish connection. She sat up in her bunk, heart pounding, and pressed her hands over her ears. It didn't help. The static was inside now, inside her mind, inside her memory. The station hadn't died completely, it had just scattered. Pieces of it embedded in everyone who'd ever heard its broadcast. Seeds waiting to grow. She grabbed her coat and walked through the sleeping settlement, out past the walls, into the empty wastes beyond. The ruins of the old world stretched in every direction, and somewhere in that vast darkness, she knew there were other stations, other frequencies, other signals trying to establish contact. The presence had been right about one thing. Loneliness was worse than anything. The need to call out, to connect, to hope that someone somewhere was listening, that need was fundamental. It would always exist, and where that need existed, signals like the one from Station 7 would always find a way to feed. But there was a difference now. Leah knew what happened when you answered, knew what happened when you let the void respond, and she could choose not to listen. She found an old transmission tower collapsed in a field. Around its base, buried under years of rust and decay, was a radio, still intact, still functional if she wanted it to be. She picked it up, held it, felt the weight of possibility, the chance to broadcast, to call out, to try one more time to reach someone. Then she smashed it against the tower's concrete foundation. Again, again, until it was nothing but components and shattered hope. The static in her head quieted, not gone, never truly gone, but manageable. She walked back to the settlement as dawn broke. Behind her, in the ruins, a faint signal tried to pulse, tried to call out, tried to find someone willing to listen, but Leah kept walking. And the transmission, for now, ended. Would you have destroyed the radio, or would you have tried one more broadcast just to see if anyone real was out there? Let me know what you would have done.